Hi guys, this is Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at another Ganzo, one that's a little bit unique. This is the F6802AL. So, a new offering from their 600 series, aluminum handle scales, German steel. Told you it was a little bit unique. It's a sub 3-inch liner lock. That's also unique. They don't do very many that are that smaller size. A lot of people are looking for Ganzos that are under 3 inches because they live in places where the laws don't allow them to have larger knives out in public. So here's a knife that might just suit that desire of yours. We'll see after a full review if you still want one of these, or if you want two, or maybe none. Who knows? Stick around and you'll find out. Alright, hopefully I've done some successful things with the lighting. So what we're looking at is, of course, the F6802AL by Ganzo. This is a Firebird series. That's why it starts with the letter F. So they've thrown down another change to us. The first thing I notice is that the fourth digit being a 2, for the last year or so, that used to mean that was a stonewash blade. If the fourth digit was a 1, that would be a satin blade. And what we've got is a satin blade, a nice satin blade at that, and it has the number 2. So that's a little bit unique. We've got a nice aluminum handle scale, and we've got this black material inside here. I haven't heard back from Ganzo yet. I believe that's probably TPE or something similar. And hopefully we'll hear from them before this goes to air, or before I'm done editing, I should say, so I could say for sure what this is. If not, check the comment section. I will pin a comment at the top of the comment section with what this material is. I will also put it in the description below the video. You just click on where it says show more in order to see that. So let's talk about the specs on this thing. First off, the unique things. Aluminum handles, German steel. This is the BRD 4116. Satin finish, hollow grind, clip point, because that's a straight edge there. A bit of a swedge on top. Nice belly, flat area here. Handle scale is open pillar construction. There's a steel insert here for the liner lock arm. I'll take this apart and show you the inside of it. Open pillar construction, and the pillars look really nice, hourglass shape. A little bit different than a lot of the hourglass pillars that Ganzo uses. These are nice. Some jimping on the thumb ramp and some jimping on the aluminum handle right there. It offers a good amount of grip. My hand is large in the North American sizing, just a little bit closer to medium than it is to extra large, and it fits my hand perfectly. It's like it's made for my hand. People with slightly smaller hands are going to find this very comfortable as well. People with larger hands than mine are going to find this just a little bit too small. So if you're on the large side bouncing against extra large, or if you're in the large, extra large, you might not find this knife terribly comfortable. It's got pocket clip, tip up, right side only. They could have so easily made it go both ways because it's just, it's just a straight pocket clip. They could have easily made it go on both sides, but they didn't. Be that as it may. Torx construction everywhere on the pivot. Brass washer, phosphor bronze washer, I should say, and a white presumably nylon washer. Let's talk about the sizes before we get too far ahead of ourselves. It's just under 3 inches on the blade. So the blade is 2.977 inches, which is 7.5 centimeters. The cutting edge is a little bit less than that, 2.9 and 7.3 centimeters. The thickness of the steel is 1/10 of an inch. That's 2 3/4 millimeters. The thickness of the steel just behind the grind, so right behind the final grind, right where my fingernail is, that is 0.025 inches, which is 0.63 millimeters. The handle is just under half an inch thick, 0.47 inches, 1.2 centimeters. The length of the handle here is 4.1 inches, which is 10.5 inches. And the entire length of this knife is 7 inches, which is 17.8 centimeters. That gives you all those measurements. The weight of the knife is 2.5 ounces, 71 grams. Nice light knife. That will please a lot of people. So let's talk about what I like and don't like about this knife. Let's talk about the, let's do it in the other order this time. Let's talk about the negatives first, things that I find a little bit not so good about it. I'm glad I got 2 of these. I bought one because I wanted to get it quickly, and I had one given to me. The one I bought was worthy of a return, and that is because, hopefully I can show you a picture of it. I've already changed it. I worked on it really hard myself to get it to work. But the liner lock, as you see right here, I couldn't push it all the way over to clear the blade. I could, if I pulled my finger this way and pulled on it, I could get it far enough. But under normal use, the way you normally use a knife and you're pushing across, what tends to happen is you're also very slightly pushing in that direction. So you go to unlock the knife, you're pushing along that direction, which is slightly forward and slightly over. There was a little bit of aluminum left right there that stopped the liner lock from going all the way over. I could get it to work maybe 10% of the time. I could get it to work always if I put my finger in there this way and pulled over. And I just had to take the whole thing apart and take out some of the aluminum that's in there. But not everybody's able to do that. So that's a negative that I hope none of you guys see on this knife if you get one of your own. So that's one potential negative. On this one here, it's no problem. It works perfectly. The liner lock is wonderful. It's right about at the 50% mark. I'll do a still picture of that, show you what that looks like. It's good that way. Another negative that I don't particularly like is I wish there was a sharpness trail right there, and there isn't one. Another one of the negatives is the sharpness of the edge from the factory. I'm used to Ganzo's knives coming quite sharp. Both of these didn't come as sharp as the average that I'm used to from Ganzo. That's a very small thing because every knife collector should know how to sharpen their own knives. Another small thing that's not a big deal, but it's still another negative, is this hole here. The edges have been left quite sharp. There's just, I don't know if I'd call it a burr, but they're quite sharp, which means when you go to open the knife, you stick your thumb in that hole and you push, and your thumb gets, chewed on just a little bit. Took a file just to test it out, a little round file, and I'm just breaking the edge on both sides. So it's good for me. I'm ambidextrous a bit, just so that it's a little bit less harsh on the edges. Another negative, again, it's just a small thing, and all 4 of these are small things. I would like this liner lock arm to just be slightly thicker, a little bit stronger, a little bit more heavy duty. It is a sub 3-inch knife, but it's right close to that 3-inch mark, and I like to have my lock arms be a little more sturdy than this one is. So there you go. There's 4 little negatives. None of them are deal breakers, except for the very first one I mentioned on the other one, where they didn't mill out that scale properly. Other than that, the other negatives are pretty small. They're not that big a deal. It's not a huge problem. It's things you can deal with or live with. Let's talk about the positives. Well, I'm very glad that Ganzo has made another sub 3-inch knife. That's something that the community has been asking for and wanting. Knife enthusiasts have been wanting that. I like that they did a hollow grind. It's another thing they don't do very often. And the hollow grind on this knife is done very well. You can see it right there as I move the blade back and forth. I'm glad for that. The aluminum, it's another thing that they're not doing that often. That helps keep the knife nice and light. That's a good thing. This rubber, I really do think it's TP material is another very good thing. It offers grip and traction even if your hands are all wet or cold or whatever. It's a really nice, I don't need to do a close-up of it because this shot right here, I mean a still, I don't need to do, you can really see the texture in this shot. It's, you know, really good material that, you know, good choice on you guys, Ganzo. Pocket clip, really good choice. Nice, very deep. You just have a tiny bit of the handle showing when it's sticking out of your pocket. So it's one of those nice, really deep pocket clips. Great thing. You know, the negative that comes with it is I wish you would have put it on this side too for left-handed guys. Wouldn't have been that hard. And another big nice thing that I like on this is the really nice open pillar construction. Nice, easy to clean, easy to work with, easy to look at, easy on the eyes. Cool, so that's the positives. Now, how about some other things that I've noticed that are just maybe a little bit strange? This right here. I don't know what that's about. It could be that they were thinking of a pocket clip that sits in there at one time. You know, where they got it milled out and they drop a pocket clip that hangs down. But this side doesn't have that kind of indentation. So it's kind of strange that this side does. It doesn't really fit the aesthetic of the rest of it. Another thing that's a little bit odd is if you take a look at this and the lines and how thick the various lines and stuff are on that side, it's not the same on this side. It's very similar, but this side's deeper. You know, it's just not really the same thing. I think this is cast aluminum is what I want to say, and I think the casting on both sides isn't cleaned up enough to be similar or the same. General impressions now. I like this knife. I carry this knife. I've carried it for quite a while now since I got it. I like how it feels in the hand. It's very grippy. It's a good cutter. It does the job. This is EDC done right. Everyday carry. That's what it's designed for. It's not specialized in any one major area. It's just a good basic knife that'll get you through any EDC task. Basically, you know, I'm not trying to use absolutes, but generally speaking, this thing will meet any task that gets put in front of it, and it will excel at that task. So, do you want to see how well this thing cuts? Well, let's get some things to cut. We've got some paper. Oh, little catch there. It could be because of all the ink that's started catching right on that side where the ink is. Yeah, because, you know, ink printer tends to make paper a little bit wet and stuff. So you can tell it cuts paper quite well. This is the factory edge. I've done a little bit of stropping to it. Not much, but only stropping. Let's see how well it does on this paracord test. And we're going to try to do that push test again, pushing through instead of slicing along. It survived that test and it passed it quite well, quite handily. And then this slicing test passes that. There's your 7 strands for your 550 paracord. We've got this 1-inch wide banding that you see me using quite often on this test. That was more of a push, but a slightly slicing test. So, yeah, there you go. It cuts quite well. That one I didn't put enough pressure on to cut all the way through, the first cut there. Good strong tip. The tip is really good for, you know, stabbing. I'm not going to pry, but it's really good stabber. And it doesn't put too much shock on the hand. There's no hot spots when I've used this knife, which surprises me with having all metal all over the place, even though it's aluminum. The one exception is that in my left hand, my pinky doesn't like this right here on the pocket clip very much. In the right hand, it's very, very comfortable because the pocket clip just gets put into the fleshy part of the palm there, and no problems at all. So there you go. That's the F6802AL by Ganzo. So if you want this knife, take a look at the description below, and I'll provide some details on it. If you want some more information about this knife, go to ganzoknife.com, or I think it's just ganzo.cn now. So there you go. I like this knife, and I like it a lot. Thank you for watching, subscribing, commenting, and sharing. Especially the commenting part I like a lot. Remember, cut towards your chum, not your thumb.